Got a new project starting today. We're going to build a StewMac ukulele kit that we got through Woodcraft, and this is a kind of a run-through. I'm creating a class to have at Woodcraft to build this kit, and so I'm using this to get timings down and figure out if I can do it within 2 days, and we'll get started. Disclaimer, I am an employee of Woodcraft, and nobody has sponsored this video. Alright, so I'm going to unpack the kit. It's really nicely done. We've got a solid mahogany top, and then we've got laminated back and sides. Got the instruction manual, we've got the sides, we've got all the parts we need to put it together. I'm going to run through the instruction manual, but I am actually going to change the order of some things. We are going to actually, as I'm trying to get the timing down to get this done for the class, I'm actually going to glue the tail block and the kerfing onto the sides before I do the braces for the top and back, because I want to glue one side of the kerfing, let it dry, flip it over, and then be able to put it back together. So we have already made up the board that they suggested. I made a few changes to it. I used some tracks and I cut some blocks using the template for the body, and this allows us to use this for more than one size ukulele down the road. Okay, so to do this, we've got the body sides here, and they need to go together like this, and we're going to set them into the blocks, which I did preset. We'll see how well it does. But I'm going to get these lined up. I do have a center line drawn at the one at the neck end, and I'm going to test clamp before I put any glue on. So we've got a tail block and a neck block. Now these were cut a little bit long, so we're going to have to trim those down so that they fit. But I just want to do a test clamp up. I want to make sure that I'm going to be able to clamp these guys properly. And yes, we will. Clamps up very nicely. So they do need to be shortened, so we'll take care of that. Okay, exciting time now. We are ready to put our first bits of glue on. So we're going to glue, I'm using Titebond, just regular Titebond. This isn't hopefully going to be exposed to water, so it doesn't need to be waterproof. But I like the quicker drying time, the quicker work time with this rather than Titebond 3, just because I want this in a class situation where I've got to move to the next step. I need the glue to dry faster. And I also want to put a little bit of glue on the ends of these of the sides, but I don't want to get too much onto the. I want to make sure I don't get a lot on the outside of the piece, because this is laminated wood, and I don't want to have to do a lot of sanding on the outside, because very thin. And I don't want to sand through the mahogany and have the center layer show up. I have also covered the blocks with packing tape so that the glue won't stick to them. I'm going to get this tail block installed. You want to center it. Making sure it's down flush. There we go. And now we're going to put the clamp, some glue on the other, on the neck block. Make sure they're pushed together. Clamp this guy up. One thing I'm trying to do is get the clamps out of the way, because the next thing we're going to do is glue the kerfing on. These are the kerfing strips. And what they do is they line the inside, and it gives you more glue surface when you glue the top and the back onto the ukulele. And these are very thin. They should bend pretty easily to conform to the shape. We'll test to make sure. Yeah. But they're going to have to also be cut. It's not quite going to fit. So I always do a test fit, which will allow me to cut them to the right length. So let me grab some clothespins. Clothespins make great clamps. You also want to make sure that this projects above the side slightly. You don't want it below the side. When we do the final sanding so we can fit the top and the back, we will even this with the top, and it's much easier to cut the kerfing down than to have to cut the top. So I'm going to make a mark of where that's crossing. Take that off, grab a saw. I'm just going to come over here, and we're going to just trim that off. Test the fit again. You could do that with a saw, you could do it with a chisel. Again, we always test fit before you put any glue on. And we're going to be fine. I'll grab a few more clothespins, because it's going to take a few more. Get this on there correctly. And then we'll get some glue onto the strip, and we'll glue it on. again, you want enough glue. You don't want a glue-starved joint, but you don't want so much glue that it runs all over the place. The important thing with an acoustic musical instrument is that the interior is smooth. This is where your sound is going to come from. So you definitely don't want to have rough edges or sharp things that can affect the sound waves moving inside the box. You don't want to skimp on clamps here. You really need to put quite a few to hold this in place. So the next thing is to put another kerfing strip on the opposite side. Alright, so the sides come with these little tabs, which I believe were used to hold it down in the cutter when they made up this body. So what I'm going to do is I am going to cut those off because I don't need those and they will get in the way of my frame. Alright, so take a look at the piece and decide which side you like better. I kind of like this side better, so I want this to be the outside. So I'm going to put the braces on this side. So I'm going to take the template that they gave me, and I'm going to mark the center lines. Now the center line on this is where they glued the two pieces together. So we got a center line there, so we got a mark there, and we got a mark here for the center line. The piece is a little bit bigger than it needs to be. They do that on purpose. So I'm lining up the center line, and then I'm going to make marks where these back braces, the darker brace marks, are. I'm going to do that all the way down. There's 3 braces that go on the back. So then I'm just going to take a ruler and I'm going to connect those marks. And that is the line where the braces are going to be installed. So that's marked. Let's get the braces and figure out what we're doing next. Okay, so what I've done is I've separated the clamps out of the package. I've kind of figured out which ones are the back and which are the top braces. They're already shaped, which is good. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a test clamp. Let me grab a couple of long clamps. So I'm going to try to practice this in the order that I'm going to put the clamps on. So I've got these clamps, these small clamps, which are good for the ends. So you want to center the brace across the body. It won't reach the ends, which is perfectly fine, because we are eventually going to need to trim these so that they fit inside the kerfing. There's no binding on a ukulele, so on an acoustic guitar you would extend these braces through the sides because the binding would cover up the end, but there's no binding on the uke. So Alright, so then we need to find a way to glue the middle. Now one way to do that is to use a caul like this, but these braces don't appear to be the same height. Let me see if... Again, I'm not sure how to tell which one's at the top and which one's at the back. So what we'll do is we'll use one of these clamps on each one. This is a Now one thing which I did notice is these braces are curved on the back, so that's going to give us a little bit of a curvature to the back and the top of the instrument. So that is how we will glue those back braces. One other thing I want to do is I want to put some tape along the sides of these before I unclamp the test clamp. And what that will do is any glue squeeze out, we will be able to take off much easier than if we had to scrape it off. We'll take these clamps off. I'll get some painter's tape. And tape those off. especially important to do this on the back, because this is where you can actually see into the instrument through the sound hole for visual effect. But you also don't want to have a lot of lumps of glue on the inside, because of the way the sound waves move inside the instrument. It will cause reflections that may not give you a pleasant tone. Although you never know. Maybe you'll hit that combination that suddenly sounds good. I won't take that chance. Okay, so now we're going to take these guys off. I'm actually thinking that the top braces are fairly flat, so I substituted to make sure I have a curved. Alright. Let's put some glue on and get these guys done up. You want to make sure that you're not pressing the brace onto the tape either. You want to make sure that it's next to the tape. Alright, we can put this aside and we'll start on the top.